Yes, hello. I am just today. It's 387. It's WWE Update. And yes, you heard that right. I have a Monty. How you doing, man?
Oh, it's like the Twilight Zone. It's like weird. Like we're doing a different something that's not in it. Can you believe it?
Well, it's usual NXT update. It's something that we, of course, love doing here. But due to kind of recent events, it changed. And, of course, with so much coming up as well with Crown Jewel, we'll chuck Raw and Smackdown in with me. Now, of course, Jaxie normally does the WWE stuff, but you do watch Raw and Smackdown as well.
Yes. Unfortunately, for a while there when it came to Raw, I definitely keep up with what's been going on. But yeah, SmackDown for the most part, I've been consistent. I catch SmackDown as much as possible because I think that's probably been their best effort consistently on a week-to-week basis. I think that's what WWE's been making the best out of as far as their product goes. So I definitely like catching SmackDown. But yeah, I've been keeping up with Raw also. So
But
I'm up on it.
The thing is, and this is something that people don't like talking about, it gets looked upon, but you're a WWE, you know what I mean? You've got love for WWE, is that right? I have as well, and I know some people don't like saying it, but it's just true, isn't it?
Yeah, I feel like an elder statesman now in a lot of ways because that's just how long I've been watching the company. So it's almost ingrained on Monday nights, Friday now, or even when it was Tuesday. I'm gonna check out and see what they have going on, even if I cringe for the entire 3 hours or 300 hours. It feels some nights when it comes to Raw. Even if I cringe and hate it, it's almost programmed in me to check out and see what WWE has going on. But I love professional wrestling though. That's one thing. I'm starting to understand now as I have broadened my horizons over the years that I really love professional wrestling. But yes, I definitely am. I would consider myself very into WWE, like to a point to where it's weird. Like I'm almost like historian levels, at least for the last 20 years. And I'm not tooting my whole horn. It's just that's how much wrestling I feel like I have watched. I could break down any era. If you want to do retro reviews one day, we definitely can do it, James. Like that's how into this company I have been over time.
To look at old stuff, but because of the amount of new, and like you said with WWE, it's a bit weird because people have a go at it. The thing for me is kind of like, if you don't like it, plenty other things to watch and enjoy. It's weird with WWE. It's like that you have a right to say how they run for child. Again, there's a separation. With AEW, they've kind of blurred the lines of the fans are a bigger part of it. They don't owe us anything, the same we don't owe them. And yes, if you invest in a ticket to go see a show, enjoy it, that's to watch you different. But we're going to look at, but the thing is, we critique it as much as AEW girls, and I think this is but to be positive about a bad word either. So we're going to see what happens here, because like I said, we don't do much just WWE in Japan. So we're going to start September, and we have Lashley and Biggie for the W title, as promised at the rules paper. And these two men have crazy, real. We see Biggie, not Lashley, off the apron. We see Alexander and Shelton Benjamin show up. They, of course, ran down to even the odds, and the ref called for the bell, and Adam Pearce booked a Lashley in the cage later. What are your thoughts on these two men? I could watch Biggie and Lashley fight all day long. The formation of the Hurt just got broken up for no reason a few months back.
I think that was one of those situations that I would say it used to be rare, but I think recently they've done a couple things where it's like, we screwed that one up. Let's try to fix that. So they knew in the back of their minds, especially with all of the possible hype that you could add to this segment and to that feud as far as Big E and Bobby goes, when you have the Hurt Business behind Bobby, so he can also clash with the New Day and add that element. It's just another element to a already fiery feud, and like you said, they have great chemistry together. I love how intense. That's one thing I will say. That's one thing that not even in as Bobby Lashley ran, as his run went on, the intensity of it kind of died down. And I think Big E definitely brought him and Bobby Lashley definitely brought an intensity to the championship picture because they really, like you said, not only they have good chemistry and they play off each other well, they know how to they really made it look like, okay, they are genuinely, like, really annoyed with each other. And like you said, it was someone who seemed like he was on Bobby's level. Like, Bobby has been on another level on Raw for a while. So it's also cool to see a babyface who we can laugh at, who may not always have to take seriously all the time, be taken seriously enough as a threat to where he can stand up to somebody that's been built like the almighty Bobby Lashley. But I thought that bringing the Hurt Business was kind of like overall bringing a Samoa Joe back. It's almost like one of them things where it's like, yeah, we screwed up there. We gotta let's try to fix this, because like, it just didn't make sense when the Hurt Business was broke up. They had so much more they could do and still can do. So I hope they can lean on that more in the future, but I don't know. It seems like they book these things on a whim when it comes to Raw sometimes.
Without doubt, but I think Crazy Bobby's one of my favourites this year. Just the sheer intensity that he brings to everything. And I think that's an excellent point you made as well with Big E, is people look at him going, oh, we want him to be more like Bobby Lashley. He hasn't got intensity, and matches against bring that out, and another different side. Because Big E has so many, sides to him that makes it entertaining. And again, I'm not going to compare him to Kurt Angle, but when you think of Kurt Angle and what they brought, it can be funny, a killer, all this kind of thing. And Big E's got it as well. But move on with Raw, and we see Garza beating Eric. Ricochet is involved in shit with Reg. Cesaro wanted a match, and Keith Bearcat Lee answered. Well, we know Keith Lee, but what do you think of Keith Bearcat Lee? Can they not just leave it alone on the main roster?
Yeah, it's just, that's the only thing. It's like, no matter what, even if you know the history or you understand what Bearcat is supposed to signify or could be signifying, because I see a lot of people say it could be a reference to the first black world champion from way back in the 60s. I've seen that, but at the end of the day, it goes all the way back to, even if that's true or not. I'm not saying it's not. I don't know the details. I'm pretty sure it is. I'm not sure. I'm sure I know that Bearcat exists, but I don't know if Keith Lee's reasoning for being called Bearcat has actually anything to do with that. But what I will say about that is just like it goes back to what we were saying about Cross weeks ago on the NXT update. Just again fixing something that wasn't broken in the first place. Making changes for the sake of changes. What's the point of adding Bearcat there? It doesn't really make Keith Lee sound any more or less intimidating than it did, honestly, before that, in my opinion. And then again with the gear. I didn't really like the design of the gear and how it looked. But, again, I'm tired of nitpicking every little thing they do with Keith Lee. I just hope whatever it is that they have going forward, that they can actually get him on television and get him in the ring, because we all know that that'll be the only way that he'll get the credit and the looks that he deserves, is when they just actually let go of all of the, restrictions that they seem to keep throwing in his path and just let him wrestle and do what he can do best. And I understand the health condition thing and all that and it being in the air, but if he can go and they can go do stuff with Tozawa, then I believe he should be able to allow to showcase what he really good at. And we all know that's what NXT allowed him to do overall. You may have not liked the Bask in the Glory gimmick. You may have loved it and the song and all of that. But at the end of the day, they let Keith Lee go in there and show you why he was one of the best in the world. And ever since he's been called up, he hasn't had that opportunity at all, in my opinion.
Yeah, without a doubt. We see Damien Sheamus, no DQ US title match, and we see Sheamus sent through a table that's up in the corner, and Priest hit this finisher for the win. This is really good stuff. Let's hope this is the end of it now between the two. And then we get Jinder Mahal veering Shanky versus Ali Jeff Hardy. The Hills won. Enough about that. A crossbeat Riker. Let's hope they've given up on Jackson Riker. That's me. AJ beat a good match as well. We see AJ. And then Doudrop answers Charlotte Flair's open challenge for a Raw Women's Championship match.
They did that in the worst way possible, by the way.
Well, even
like she just like 3 seconds before the match, she tells you that she's challenging Charlotte. So it was weird. But anyway, go ahead.
I was about to say we see Eva's music hit and that distracted do drop. But for me, it's good to see Niven mixing it up with Charlotte. I hate calling her Doudrop, but she's happy with it. We see Goldberg telling Bobby's going to be a victim. Baszler choked out Eva, who was still in the ring, and injured Eva with the arm on the stairs again. This is well done. I don't know if you've seen Baszler just making women scream, so to speak, but I can't really rewatch it. I have to skip through it because I find it really distressing. Call me weird, but like...
You know what? It's funny because you say that, and I was just straight up sadistic. Like, yes, finally she's back to destroying women's body. That's the Shayna I know and love, a crippler.
It's just, we see Super Brutality is named, and it is a cool name. He wants matching outfits. And then the main event, Biggie versus Bobby Lashley, W Championship in a steel cage. You see Benjamin and Alexander come out to help. New Day did the same thing. Lashley hit a superplex for only a 2. They fought the top. We see a big ending from the top for the win, and as he celebrated, Drew McIntyre come on stage and put the sword at him, indicating he wants the next shot, either that or something else. I don't know. What were your thoughts on the event? I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought it was a very, very strong match. Again, I think whenever Big E and Bobby Lashley have had a chance to do what they do together, they have done it in a really strong fashion, and the steel cage only hyping the drama. I thought this was really, really good stuff, and I couldn't wait to see where it was going from here.
About that, and then for Drew, as soon as Bobby is no longer the champion, it makes sense for him to step up. And we spoke about having a look at NXT, and of course we've got NXT Update as well. And the last one we had, you weren't very happy about NXT 2.0, so. I think that would be an understatement, but we'll see what happens with NXT. We start off the 28th of September, and of course, we see Hit Row make their entrance. And Shantley Lee Adonis getting the mic. He says tonight it's all about ladies and hypes up the title matches, with Top Dollar chiming in. Searsworth Scott talks up the Cruiserweight Championship match. B-Fab tonight in an ODQ. The spotlight is on her. She's going to beat the brakes off Elektra. And that is the first match. No DQ, B-Fab versus Elektra Lopez. Pulled out a table, used it as a weapon. Lopez grabbed steel chairs and Kennedy sticks to inflict damage. Lopez speared Fab into a steel chair, then sent her face first into it, and she ended the match with a powerbomb. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought it was decent enough. They both ladies look green at times. I can't lie. But it was some spots in there that definitely made this interesting to me. Elektra probably looked a little bit more experienced than B-Fab, but other than her selling at times, it was really no surprise that she would get the win because she kind of also looked the most fluid in the ring. Even in the times when they haven't fought each other, this is like pretty much the first major one-on-one encounters. It was decent. I didn't hate it either. So maybe it's their factions involvement made this a little bit more interesting than maybe it was, but I thought it was decent.
Well, like I said, thank God the rest of Legado and Hit Row are better. Otherwise, this feud would be the same. This wasn't as bad as it could have been. The shortcuts obviously helped.
Yeah.
You get highlights from the Index honeymoon, including Candice LeRae sparring them, up in 2, including Finn Mars at the water. This wasn't the funniest that they've had, but you feel like it's coming to an end now as well.
Yeah, you can tell that they're trying to keep it going, but it's really losing steam. Not by any fault of theirs, but yeah, you can only do so much in this situation. Candice also in general with Candice involvement in these skits, as you see, it will lessen, as we all know, with them welcoming a new member of the family. So it's a lot of things that's going on with that, but you can't really ask much more from them. They've been carrying NXT with their creativeness for a while now, so I'm not surprised it's getting harder to come up with things involving Index.
Without a doubt. We see Joe Gacy seated says the ring is still a safe space and talks about the impact he made last week and cancelled. He made an impact and Ciampa, strong and breaker, using only his words, that nobody understood the enlightened ones. Last week there were nothing but triggered faces in the locker room, but he's here to usher in a new normal. What are your thoughts? We spoke about it last time, and I don't know who it's aimed.
Yeah, again, it's very, very like he's using a particular type of language on purpose, right? And I think everybody can see that. But it's just from a cerebral standpoint of the character. I like where he's going because he's saying all of the things. He's saying these things in a way that makes it seem like, this and that participation trophy. Like he's poking fun at a lot of groups of people, really, when you think about the way he's saying it. But it's just funny to me because it's all so disingenuous. I don't think anyone buys anything he's saying either. So I think as a heel, it's actually kind of genius if you really think about it. But yeah, I'm not going to be like I understand exactly where it's going, but I do think it's an interesting premise from what I had seen at that point.
Up next, Only Lorcan versus Quinn. Quinn started slow, but it took it to the next level after a slap, and he ran over the former tag champion and planted him a Samoan drop, and he hit a running forearm for a big victory. Yes, from tag champ to jobber. Yeah. I mean, looks like WWE have high hopes for this stupidly named Samoan. What are your...
my thoughts at the time were poor Orny. Oh, man. It sucks to see you in this position. Arnie Lorcan kind of reminds me of Cesaro sometimes. Not because I feel like you can make everything in the ring work, and tag teams, of course, obviously. Like Cesaro's good everywhere. You put him in a tag team, it's gonna work. Let him do singles run as a heel, he can make that work. Let him run as a babyface, make that work. I think Lorcan kind of has the same thing going on, but he just always seems to get the short end of the stick when it comes to NXT, man. And it sucks to see him get squashed. And you guys, I don't know. I feel like at this point, I guess I should just get used to it. But you know how I feel about that running form. So,
but then again, we should say not just running forearm, but how difficult it is to be a bald professional wrestler. Because people look at Cold and Goldberg, and there's not that many really after them that have had success. So maybe Only and Danny Burch, start wearing toupees or something like this to try and get a bigger push in NXT.
Wow! Look at how desperate it is right now. They're telling people to go. Wow, this is getting sad. Okay,
this is terrible. This is a real problem in professional wrestling. People don't talk how much bald wrestlers struggle. Look at Gene Snitsky. Look at Just Incredible. Look at all these wrestlers have suffered. White bald men have suffered more.
Bald men.
That's a real tragedy in wrestling. All right. I'm glad we managed to speak about it.
I'm having a really hard time thinking of a good one. You really got to be on to something.
We need to start raising money for white bald wrestlers. The people that really need it. Anyway, we'll move on. Grayson Waller cuts a promo, but he's got an MMSK make their entrance. Interviewed, and they said challenge anyone to step up to him. And the grizzled young veteran remind Ashcart and Wesley they still want the gold. Kamala Hayes arrived with Trick Williams behind him. Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen shot and got into a brawl. And then we see this ending as well. I will say grizzled young vets are brilliant.
Yeah.
Promo gives it just something else. Asking, speaking riddle. This doesn't fill me with exciting low. And it doesn't matter if it's NXT 2.0 or the normal NXT, they still don't like MSK, do they? So...
No, it doesn't matter what's going on. Even when they're both in the veteran role amongst these teams, no, they still don't get along. It really sucks too to see GYV. I really feel like they have potential to be great dominant tag champions, but I don't want to ever see them really fight MSK again because at this point they hammered it home that MSK is better than them. With the way they booked it. Look, you know what I'm saying? So it's like that's how bad it's gotten for GYV, and I think they're like the most legit team left, pretty much. But
again, Zach Gibson, a white bald wrestler. All right.
Fair enough. I'll leave it at that. It's an epidemic.
Watch out, Chumper. Right? That's what I'm saying.
I was just about to say he's like the only one in a good position right now.
We see Gonzalez cutting a promo about how she's going to win tonight. Interrupted attraction. He gets given a rose. And Mandy Rose says the title looks good on Raquel, but it looked better on her. Snap. We see Toxic Attraction make their entrance for a match for the tag team title. Shy and Zoe Stark. The Heels in control till hot tag. And the Genius Sky ran over both of the challengers with fast-paced offense. Stark helped wipe out Dolan, leaving Jane to take a palm strike. And over the moonsault loss. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I really, at the time, I really thought Stark and Shirai shined. And they're just so good. I think they brought their opponents up to their level in this match. Obviously, with someone like Io in the ring, it just happened. She just rise everyone around her, make it all feel more important and all of that because she's Io. And but I was just really impressed with the work at this, and I didn't really come into that show and expected to enjoy the match the way I did. But I do think in this current time, for at least for stability, and it's funny when I say it about Zoe Stark because I still in my brain. She's still supposed to be relatively new. But no, people like Stark and Io Shirai are needed in this time when they're trying to, in this new era when they're trying to establish so many new characters. You need some stability, you need some consistency, and people like Io are perfect in having the forefront of that when it comes to the women's division.
I think without doubt, Starks looks great, so cool. This wasn't a bad match. I like the dives to the outside of as well. And looks like JC changed her look every week. I'm keeping an eye out. She still has. And we get a Bron Baker video package. And then see Boa and Mi Ying make their entrance to send us to a break. Ciampa is interviewed via satellite from a gym. And he responds to Bron Baker. He understands Baker isn't a patient man. But it took him 908 days to get the title, and he never lost back. There's no doubt in his mind that Bron will get a shot sooner rather than later. Oh, shit. Looks like Bron is. And then Andre Chase versus Boa. And Chase did not believe in any what TNA was buying, but much time mocking Mei Ying at ringside. He got a fake set up for Boa. What can I say? The only thing I can say about this match is Chase wrestled in the jumper.
This is literally what I wrote. I don't know what to think about this match, honestly, but I thought Andre Chase was entertaining. I don't think he should wrestle in his teacher gear, though. No, he shouldn't. He probably shouldn't. He shouldn't wrestle in it. That's what I wrote. That's it. That's all I got to say.
It's like I have to wear shorts and a t-shirt when I watch wrestling, let alone.
Right. I'm wrestling that. What are you thinking? Leave the ring drenched. Just leave the ring.
Just slide out the ring. Is that the strategy there? Anyway, back to Index and their honeymoon, and Candice and Johnny are very well protection. Donna roots for luggage to make sure they have condoms and finds a nice long strip. Dexter returns to the room while he's in there, and he hides in the closet, accidentally losing a shoe in a suitcase. Hartwell and Loomis have a pillow fight, but John Dexter having, and it makes a bunch of uncomfortable reactions. He tries to sneak out, and Dexter wakes up and gives him a thumbs up. Out. The ending was good.
Yeah.
I guess that's what Indy is hoping for as well.
All I have to say is overall, and you will see as we continue this, I learned way too much about Dexter's sex life. So, yeah.
Well, the Cruiserweight match, no one wanted next. Grayson Waller versus Roy Strong. You see the two go back and forth as well. I tried to get a win or not. After a devastating rolling cutter, Waller was close, but Strong rebounded with a running knee win. What were your thoughts?
I wrote that Waller is definitely still annoying. But he did impress me at times. He had chances to win, so I didn't think it was bad. I thought it was a great showing from him and Roderick, but Roderick is always solid. So this was pretty fun to watch. I remember at the time, as much as I still think Grayson Waller is annoying.
Well, this is the thing. I mean, I asked you what you thought of the match, and you've been that kind of great thing back. And for me, I see a lot of kids mucking around in the crowd and empty seats. And the thing, the kids in the seats, but they just go running around and it looks empty and you get annoyed by that. And then I saw Grayson Waller and I thought, oh, ooh-ee, ooh-ah, ting-tang, walla walla bing bang. So I guess we were kind of looking at different perspectives in the match. But I'm sure it was fine. But don't you think there's so many wrestlers, though, can do what these guys do? Good match, Maybe I wasn't paying attention.
Yeah, I don't think you were watching at all. And you know what? As a journalist, I understand completely what's going on. But I tried to give it a shot. I tried to be like, I'm going to watch this with a critical eye. You focus on the kids in the crowd.
Well, yeah, I can see one of the dads going, fucking, come here now. You know what I mean? No, fuck. And there's another kid who's got he's one kid who's got his hands on his ears because it's just too loud. They're just too young. And you think, why did a parent bring them to a wrestling show if they're just going to do that? There's no enjoyment from that child whatsoever. No, absolutely nothing.
I like how you just avoided the fact that you know nothing that happened in this match. So you go into more detail about the crowd.
Look,
smart technique.
I thought the colour of the poor choice. I thought Grace really is. That's not what we want. But the Diamond Mines celebrated the ring afterwards, and then we see L.A. Knight is interviewed backstage. He asks if he looks like a punk and said he's the uncrowned NXT champion. He's not going to let Odyssey Jones roll in and spew a bunch of BS about him. Gives Jones a very important lesson. Odyssey right behind him, promises he's never seen anyone like him. Chase comes rushing back, complaining about his loss and a chance to jump Jones. And wow, Odyssey Jones getting taken down by a shot from LA Knight. He's in trouble at this moment.
Yeah.
Remember when Giants? Remember how many times it took to take a giant down? We get Trey Baxter and Corva Jade interviewed backstage. Jay says she's the youngest person on the show. She's excited.
Oh yeah, trust me, you look it.
Baxter says she's doing great as long as she doesn't do anything he did last week, and they kiss. It's just what the
great
fuck?
Advice.
What the fuck? What?
And then you know what I really am offended by? They just expect us to care about this. They obviously expect they showed us kiss. They showed them kissing twice in 2 weeks, twice in 3 weeks. Who cares? Okay.
This cunt's half the size of me. He lost last week, and yet he's got a girlfriend and a fucking eye. What? And I haven't. What? You than me? Like fuck you.
I mean, you did pick him to win the tournament.
Yeah,
Instead of winning the tournament, he picked a woman. So,
he's not won. He's not. Since I picked him, and yeah, the girl's like, "Oh no, you did really well."
No, you did.
Shit.
No, he didn't do well. Oh, but she's 20 years old. Oh, Barrett. Oh, my God. Barrett's commentary was so perfect. Oh, my goodness. Well, wait till we get there. All right, let's go.
We get Lashley dishing some dirt on the out and talking up Manjuro to Real Man or Andre Chase. I'm trying to skip the parts as quick as possible, really. Stuff. Holland, make that Riley jumps in. Down joins a break. And Carla Riley, Holland, we're back. Cole kicked hard, but Holland responded. Kyle O'Reilly went to top right. Pete Dunne arrived. O'Reilly knocked Holland into the bruiseweight and rolled up the big man for free. And afterwards, as Dunne's beat down O'Reilly from Wagner, everybody arrived to even the odds and send the Hills running. Kyle is not the chosen one. What are your thoughts on this?
I wrote, I'm sure this is solid wrestling, but this match wasn't really doing it for me. I think it was because of my lack of investment in pretty much a lot of the angles on this show overall, or just my lack of investment in these two guys. Either way, I maybe this was solid. I'm not gonna lie, like they had my attention. So that's what I said at the time. They didn't really have my attention at the time, Ridge Holland and Kyle O'Reilly. As a matter of fact, ever since I don't even remember why Kyle O'Reilly still has a problem with Holland, and I don't even know where this problem comes from. Now that I think about it, no. Looking back,
and again,
I didn't care. I didn't really care.
I again, facial disfigurements or disabilities, I would never mock the afflicted. So if Von Wagner has got something like that, then I do apologise. Because he really weird looking dude. I don't know.
Yeah, he got the Neanderthal forehead also.
If people go, we don't, evolve from apes, you go, look at Von Wagner.
Yes, he's a great example. Yeah, exactly. I'm sorry. If that's insensitive, I apologize for James.
Yes, apologize. I'm sure I will hear about it from the Von Wagner Trust. Anyway.
My goodness.
Yeah.
That exists.
The Tony D'Angelo gets another promo. The Tony.
Yeah.
And he says stuff like, and Raquel Gonzalez makes her entrance. The main event is Frankie Monet versus Raquel Gonzalez. Monet came in with a plan against Gonzalez, using her speed as well as her comparable power to lay a champion. And Monet took too much time stomping Gonzalez to go for the win and ran right on and allowing Gonzalez to use the momentum to hit the Chingungle bomb for the win. But afterwards, Toxic Attraction attacked the Robert Stone brand and laid out Gonzalez to stand tall over the champion. Wade opened up on commentary dating. He lost. Not only did he open up about the course a lot of dating, they talk about he lost light and hunger to carry on. It was quite interesting how deep he got into this. For me, Monet double in now, because I thought she might be the chosen one. They've just Rose lifting that title sent a shiver down my spine. You know when someone walks over your grave, that feeling.
Oh God, that's what you gonna compare it to?
That's what I compare it
to. It is something that I did. I should have, because it really, when you put all the pieces together with the Pritchard news, and we know Triple H is probably not his hands on. If he is even back, I doubt he's even back. I'm pretty sure he's still recovering and chilling or whatever. So it makes all the sense in the world if you think about the way Mandy Rose has been booked. It is just stereotypical WWE in the last 10 years if you really think about it. The way they booked that whole faction thing right there. But what I will say is that when she returned, I was wondering where are they going to go with this? Because she was on the main roster for a while. So I figured a title shot would be coming, but I do know what you mean. It's something that you probably didn't think you would see. You go from Io Shirai to Raquel, and now you possibly maybe going to Mandy Rose. Can you think about that? And not even mention the Baileys, the Sashas, and the great history that belt has at this point. Oscar, that's such a great track record. And then and it's possibly end up in Mandy Rose's hand, which is it's just a crazy thought. You probably wouldn't have thought of that a few years back. I know you wouldn't have. No one would have, most likely. But anyway, I thought the match between Monet and Gonzalez was good, and it didn't have the build of heat to take it over the top. And I didn't really find anything wrong with what they were doing, of course, in the ring and all that. It just, for some reason, I felt like that match wasn't as big a deal, and they kind of reaffirmed that by right after it, letting Mandy Rose come and attack the champion and let you know that, we're getting Frankie out of the way right now. This is not continuing. We're going to Mandy and Raquel.
Yeah, it was a bit like that, but we're going to try and cheer ourselves up now. By October 1st, SmackDown, and we're going to go to the draft. Yay!
Oh, yeah.
DeVille and Pierce announced these picks poorly. I mean, whose choices are these anyway?
It's pretty bad.
Why don't you just tell us who they can pick and who's doing? We might give a fuck, It's just so... Right, so we got the picks. So Roman Reigns went to SmackDown, Biggie to Raw.
Obviously.
Charlotte to SmackDown, Belair to Raw, McIntyre to SmackDown, RK Bro to Raw, New Day to SmackDown, Edge to Raw, Happy Corbin and Madcap Moss, SmackDown, they got me started, Rhea Ripley and Nikki Ash Raw, Hit Row, SmackDown, Keith Bearcat Lee Raw, Naomi SmackDown, Ray and Dominic Raw, Jeff Hardy SmackDown, Austin Raw. Now, that with the first night, Bianca Belair to Raw, and was probably the most surprising one for me. I don't know about you.
Bianca Bella to Raw. It probably was a little bit surprising, but their division need a shakeup so bad that any changes to Raw's women's division will make sense to me. The most surprising to me was not a doubt in my mind Hit Row. I really felt like they, as good as they are in NXT, I did not see getting called up. I was literally just telling you about how one of their members looked like they've only been in the ring a handful of times at this point, or at least, definitely on television. We know she's been on television in the ring less than a handful of times. So it was no way I thought that they would already be getting the call up. I know they could protect her. I know it's not really even about her. But who knows what's going to happen to Hero on the main roster now? Because I thought they had potential, and they were nowhere near where they could be. You know what I mean? When they were in NXT. So sometimes when you kind of get called up a little too early before you're even ready in NXT, I don't know if I'm too positive. But I feel like Isaiah will be fine. So I don't know. We'll see. But Hero definitely was the most shocking for me.
With the stuff happening on Raw and SmackDown, you kind of, to make up your mind on the first, leave it as that. But weren't too bad. Of course, McIntyre SmackDown was always right. But we see the Tribal Chief making his way to the ring to kick off the evening's broadcast. He asked for Baltimore to acknowledge me. And then he handed the mic over to Special Counsel Paul Heyman. And Heyman recapped his client's victory over Finn Balor Extreme Rules. And mentioned the name of former associate Brock Lesnar. The Beast made a surprise appearance to a thunderous ovation. We see a tense stare down, gave way to a physical count that saw Reigns fire for a series of right hands, only for Lesnar to take him down with a suplex. He added a few more to Jimmy and Jay before taking him down with a pair of F5s. And Lesnar stood tall to close out the segment as dismayed and rattled Reigns exited. What were your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I thought this was really, really good. I knew. I also thought it was a little bit of a gamesmanship, little strategy here by whoever is making the decision on the main roster, because that finish at Extreme Rules, it may have I'm pretty sure it rubbed some people the wrong way, and I'm pretty sure I wasn't the only one who was sitting there confused on how, or at least trying to figure out how they would explain it. And they went the smart route and just said, nope, we're not going to explain it at all. We're just going to go right into the Brock Lesnar, right into the stuff that we know the live crowd will want to see right now. Let's gloss over what happened last Sunday and let's just move on. And I thought this was a great way to do it. If you're going to do it with, big time, encounter that they finally, get a chance to touch. It's just hilarious to me. I don't care. I promise. I was at WrestleMania 34. So as someone who was at that WrestleMania, in New Orleans, I think I'm the right day. But anyway, I could be wrong on the right number. I feel like I'm right because 34 sounds right. But I was there, believe it or not. Maybe I got the numbers right, but I was there. Damn it. Anyway,
you were at a WrestleMania.
Yes, where Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar main event. So they were the last match, and everyone there took a collective dump on that match. So it is what always get to me. It's always going to be funny to me to watch the reaction of the crowd now, and it just shows you what all you have to do is just switch character positioning or booking. And just showing you just how much fun you can have with a live crowd, because I was there when live crowds did not want to see these two people touch again. And now, Brock grows a beard, let his hair tie his hair up a little bit. They changed Roman's character, and now it's very anticipated. It's just I'm always bring that up, but it's funny to me when I think of this segment right here.
Well, the thing is about it as well, like I said, of being so cool, his belt buckle, the belt buckle with the little logo on it with Brock Lesnar is brilliant. And only kind of, you think about the interactions these guys have and how electric it is, and only kind of Rock and Austin had the chemistry for each time they met, the crowd would go crazy. And like I said, it's just a shift of roles, and now it feels how many times have these guys faced off, and the reactions they're getting now compared to
back then,
100 times.
Yeah, it's on another level.
It's unbelievable. Well, we'll move on to Charlotte interview. She's so glad she's off Raw. And I'm glad she's off Raw as well.
Me too.
So much time, yeah, without doubt.
We all are.
Get Happy Corbin and Madcap, and Owens lost to Baron. Well, Baron said he'd rather no one kicks out of his WWE champion. Looks like for Kevin, it's end of days.
Oh, you cheeky. No, it wasn't that good.
Right.
But no, I will say this about that. I feel like Corbin, when he was depressed, was on to something. But I think I figured out what happened. They found out that he was getting over, and they're like, we actually found a way to make people like Corbin, and that, and Vince just, or whoever makes the final decision these days is just like, no way, we can't have a world where Baron Corbin is a good guy. They feel sympathy for him. Let's ruin it and make him even more annoying than he ever was before. Well, no, okay, no, this is probably just as annoying as he was when he was the authority figure. So never mind. Probably more than that.
We see Drew McIntyre interviewed, and of course the blue suit Sim Reigns is the end goal, and SmackDown is where it all started. Then we see Edge coming through the curtain, showing no signs of the injury that threatened his career. But after a recap of Seth Rollins' threats from last week, the Edge addressing Rollins, he dared him to come out, and instead Rollins appeared outside of Edge's house in North Carolina. He entered it and made himself at home. We see Edge frantically called Beth Phoenix and a mobile. Rollins, I think they should have done more. Like, they could have created some kids painting, put it up there, and when Rollins looked at it and said it's shit, picked up and ripped it up. Make him a bigger arsehole. Go round and have him smiling while smashing shit up. And, act like a Joker. They go, oops, did I do that? Oh my God, And
it reminds me of a lot of stuff in WWE. That it's like they're doing the same thing, but it's a very, very watered down version of it, because it's definitely a callback to Edge going to Cena's house. If anyone remember, everyone knows it, but it's missing one of the most vital things about Edge showing up to his house. And everybody, I remember it to this day. That week, I hated Edge. He literally slapped John Cena's father in the face. Like, I'm not saying I wanted Seth to go abuse Beth or anything, but I'm just saying, like, you definitely can put some other scenarios there to make him do something. Now, of course, breaking and entering, yes, it's bad. We get it. All right, sure, that's enough of a line to cross for me to want to hurt you. But he definitely could have went a little bit further because, like you said, I literally can reference Edge going that extra mile, if you see what I'm saying. So, I see exactly what you mean.
I remember when Stone Cold broke into Brian Pillman's house. I would have loved Rollins breaking in.
Don't even get me started on it.
I love Rollins breaking in, Beth Phoenix there with a shotgun.
That would have been perfect. You just have Seth running out of there, or it black out again. The screen black out like it did there. Yeah. You know what? You remind me. Triple H showing up to Randy's house with the sledgehammer. Like he did some damage. He destroyed that rental home or whatever that was. It threw him out of the window. Like, do some damage if you're gonna show up to a wrestler's house.
Well, we move on. Morgan versus Carmella. The match started after the latter produced a mask to protect her face and laid her rival out. We see New Day and Street Profits defeating Alpha Academy, Ziggler and Rude. Another really fun multi-man match. Fans really into it. Backstage, Brock Lesnar interrupts an interview between Gayla Braxton and Jeff Hardy to feel he's a free agent. Thanks to Paul Heyman in his private locker room, Roman Reigns ordered Heyman to Raw, where his task was to draft to SmackDown. If not, leave him for dead on his cousins. I was speaking and I said to her, if they put all the backstage Roman Reigns segments on like a box set or, just on a program, for me, I'd watch it like it was Sopranos. Like, this for me is what I wait for every week.
I agree 100%. It's like, that's literally how they protected him and, set him up in perfect position like that. And it's like you said, every week you're playing. Every week you're watching, you're just looking to see what's going on backstage with Roman Reigns. Who is he mad at this week? What is he yelling at Heyman about? Or whatever the situation is. I agree. It's great, compelling stuff. And Roman, has hit it out of the park every time for this entire run. It's really insane when you think about it.
Credit to Paul Heyman and his tears. I will say that as well. So that unbelievable that he can do. Up next, Bianca Bella and Sasha Banks made their way to the ring for the WrestleMania rematch, but Becky Lynch interrupted proceedings, heading to the announce position. We get into the match, and this was a great match between the two. Without doubt, Belair delivered a modified glam slam for a near fall. She added a handspring moonsault for another 2 count. Banks answered with a double knees in the corner and followed with a frog splash. But Banks capitalised on a distraction from Lynch to score the win via up, and after the match, Charlotte came out and rocked Banks with a big boot and stood tall to close out the show. So what are your thoughts on this?
All right, like I was saying, I believe this is a really, really good segment. Like you said, the chemistry between Sasha and Bianca is absolutely off the, they're really, really good. They off the charts. They have great chemistry with each other, and I think it shows. And the match itself was what it was. It was a typical WWE television finish, really distraction. Here we go again, type of thing. But with Charlotte standing tall in the end, I guess this was a way of, of course, I'm kind of sick of that because Charlotte is pretty much always standing tall, but it is what it is. I think they were just showcasing that now on Friday nights you'll see Charlotte also. And, and this may be more your images at the end of shows to come will be Charlotte standing tall or whatever. So it worked. And I do love also seeing Bianca Belair kind of, it's already she did it herself with her work as champion over the most of this year, but it's great when you think about her as elevated, because I feel like I've always looked at the WWE Women's division and looked at it kind of split into tiers, whereas like you have maybe an Asuka who can get over the hump and be up there with the rest of the 4 horsewomen, but it's really interchangeable. Then you have that second tier of, it's not even interchangeable. It's like it's really like tough to get in there to be taken seriously enough like that to get a title reign like that. And you can see Bianca is definitely someone that they like enough to put right into the fire with a Sasha Banks, with a Becky Lynch, with a Charlotte Flair. And I think that's really, really cool to see if you've been like us who've been watching Bianca kind of from the start all the way back in NXT.
Yeah, without doubt, Blair just getting better, and it's nice Becky Lynch hates Michael Cole as much as Bayley, but nothing takes effect till after Crown Jewel. Why the fuck did they do it now? But anyway,
yeah.
So we got Lynch to Raw, the Usos stay on SmackDown, Bobby Lashley stays on Raw, Sasha Banks stays on SmackDown. And then Lynch started the show and said she was back on Raw. Charlotte interfered, then Belair, which set up a main event later. I will take Lynch with the star power over Charlotte all day long. I like Lynch stirring the pot as well. Raw just got massively better. It's a shame you leave Heyman for dead, though, I suppose. And then we get Priest versus Jeff for the US title. He took Priest down with a twist of fate and climbed to the top for a swanton. The Priest rolled him and stole the win with a crucifix. Hardy was given a post-match. Theory interrupted. He took the pick, and then Theory destroys him with a clothesline and a knee to the face. What did we think of this? It's Austin Theory, and of course we know and love him from The Way. He's now on Raw, and I thought this was a great introduction.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is a good start. For his character and where he can be headed down the line. I'm not sure where they're going with him. I'm always weary, always a little bit, paranoid when it comes to these call-ups, especially when the character seems to be contrast to what they were doing in NXT. Like, I know we're not talking about Toni Storm, but Toni Storm is a great example of someone who seemed like they were finally trying to do something and get used to playing a heel character. And now that she's back, now she's on the main roster, she's just regular old, I like 80s rock, Toni Storm, basically. Same thing kind of going with Theory after playing this role of making people laugh and not really being taken seriously. How would they present him going forward? And I do think this was a good start.
I've without doubt, Big Papa Johnny would be so proud. As for the match, I like the finish. Priest has style written over him. We've spoken about this. Such a huge fan of Priest in NXT, and it's paying dividends now. We see Seth Rollins moving to Raw. Shinsuke Nakamura and Rick Boogs down SmackDown. Priest stays on Raw. Sheamus moves to SmackDown. And then Brooke versus Baz. Kirifuda clutch for the win. And after the match was over, Baszler kept attacking Brooke. Doudrop came out to make the save. Mansoor Mustafa Ali lost to Angel Garza and Humberto Carrillo. Have a matching outfits. That's all I asked for tag. I want. With another quick match though, and then AJ Styles and Omos stay on Raw. Baszler moves to SmackDown. Kevin Owens moves to Raw. Zian Lee moves to, and then Biggie and McIntyre faced off, or Big D as we. Ziggler came out, took credit for both.
No one calls him that.
Well, it's D to me. Ziggler came out to take credit for both. And I will say, Ziggler has got an excellent... He's got a better record than The Miz, to be fair. I mean, Miz's record has been terrible. There's not actually anybody he's built up, whereas Ziggler, with, of course, Biggie and McIntyre have both been champions. So, I think, thank you, Dolph Ziggler.
I agree with thank you, Dolph Ziggler, for different reasons, probably. But what I will say about Dolph Ziggler is I am sick of him whining. This seemed like the exact same thing he was doing with Kofi's gimmick, except now when he was doing it when he was fighting Kofi for the title. But now, instead of saying it should have been me in your position, he's saying, "Hey, you owe all your success to me." His character is very, very predictable. But I do agree with you. Thank you, Dolph. You'd be surprised his involvement with a lot of people's favorites. Dolph Ziggler was right up there for a long time. He definitely don't get the credit he deserved, in my opinion, for that run. But and Dolph still gets used now. He's still useful now. He's not. Especially as a worker, he may not be taken as seriously as he once was, but he definitely, I think, has value. Just WWE has no clue what to do with older talent a lot of times.
That is true. We then get a tag match. Dirty Dogs come up short against the Faces. Ziggler was excellent as promo low. This match was a fun. Then we get a quick segment of Owens hitting Akira Tozawa with a stunner. To Raw, Viking Raiders stay on Raw. Finn Balor moves to Ricochet, moves to SmackDown. Nikki Ash on the line against former champions Italian into Faces 1. Another quick match. Then Cross stays on Raw. Carrillo Garza moves to SmackDown. Bliss on Raw. Cesaro stays on SmackDown. Then Goldberg made his way out for announcements, talk about Lashley and how he choked out his son Gage. It took the almighty lesson of the stage. Lashley agreed to have a match on Barred. Goldberg thanked him, and the stipulation gives him a license. What? Cedric Alexander and Benjamin tried to attack Goldberg from behind, but he easily took him out. When did we say we're going to kill a murder pit in wrestling? When did that happen?
It's hilarious to me because I don't know what the context was of why I was doing this, but I probably was having a conversation with my fiance, and I could have sworn we were just talking about how that word was supposed to be on the list of banned words when it comes to WWE, like words you just don't say. So it was very, very shocking when he said that. And all I have to say is that we will get to it, but Bobby Lashley's most recent promo on it is the right energy to have with somebody saying that, because it was perfect. But yeah, no holds barred does not mean murder, Goldberg. I'm just letting you know that.
I honestly believe it. And then the Hurt Business coming back together to get destroyed by Goldberg managed to pick themselves up to face the New Day and got beaten again. But we see the Street Profits come out and congratulate New Day on the win and the new movie, The Undertaker, on Netflix. I'm waiting to. They all hugged and shared a look up. And it was just Raw again. Riddle and Orton came out to get an answer because the Viper wants to challenge Omos. They got in a fight with the Raw Tag Team Champions Styles with an RKO. The match never happened. It was an okay segment. Final rounds of the second night of the draft, including the picks. Carmella moved to Raw. Ridge Holland moved to SmackDown. Yeah, that's going to work. Gable Stevenson moves to Raw, and Sami Zayn stays. And Zayn again. I mean, conspiracy last. Carmella is ahead of him. Anyway, main event, Charlotte versus Belair. Belair hit the kiss of death. Lynch pulled her out of the ring and sent her in the crowd to again, not a bad main event, but no.
I mean, who created that move? I think it feel like a WWE creation at this point, or at least that's who they give all the blame for DQ finishes. So yeah, right, like you said, it's just typical Raw. Talk about a match for 2 out of the 3 hours just to have it end in a no contest or a DQ or whatever. So, right down there, Alan.
Yeah. Well, not drafted. Bailey, Oscar, because both are injured, that makes sense. Elias, wait. Eva Marie, thank God. Grand Metallic and Storado, apparently they both are. Lacey Evans having a baby. Slapjack, Titus Johnson, and Davey. And they just got me in catering. Well, they don't do catering anymore, do they? Just sitting around going.
Yeah, just there.
Well, there's nothing to pick us up, from a bad Raw or a Raw then going straight into NXT. We've got October 5th. We see the tag team 4-way title match tonight, and we start off with Ember Moon versus Mandy Rose. And Gigi Dolan and JC Jane got involved early, distracted Ember long enough for Mandy over the action. Moon went for the clips, but Rose ducked out of the way and landed a bicycle knee for the win. Yes, Rose beats Moon.
Of course she beats Moon, right? And of course, she uses that over her favorite move that she's been using for a long time. That used to get kicked out of on the main roster all the time, but now it is the knee of death, which is her bicycle knee. But anyway, the match I didn't think was that bad. Strictly for the purposes of establishing Mandy Rose as a threat. The thing that's bad is that you're using someone like Ember Moon strictly for the purposes of establishing Mandy Rose as a threat. That may be the issue in that situation. But I did write down that Mandy showed a little bit of toughness that you never really get to witness before. But every time I say something like that, it just really goes back to her not really even doing much while she was on the main roster, doing much in the ring for the however long she was on the main roster. And, and I do know she had an initial run in NXT way back, but I don't even remember. That wasn't the most memorable run either. So, I don't know if that's giving her props when I say I've witnessed things. I've never witnessed that or not. I don't know if that's a compliment or not. I have nothing to tell you other than Mandy Rose beat Ember Moon. And you love bringing up that great match you saw between Ember Moon and Asuka. Mm-hmm. I wonder how you feel.
I am as I can't. It's. I just don't know. I don't know what they've done. It's like, we have the best. Let's fuck it up. Who
and they keep repeating that. Also, I think they've also mentioned that they still. I think Raquel said it, and someone else even said this is the best women's division in the world. You're gonna have to stop saying that, okay?
Well, we see commentary congratulate Hit Row on being drafted to SmackDown. We get a package from Legado del Row out for SmackDown, saving her ass. And LA Knight versus Odyssey Jones. They try to survive, distract the net breaker. Got foot under the bottom of the rope, but Chase knocked it back in the ring, allowing Knight to get recount. It looks like Knight, he's going to be a vital part in helping the younger guys. This was okay, but that's all you can say, really.
This was a short match. That I did note that. I did think it was good to see LA Knight win, but not for the reasons that anyone think. I was worried that his new direction after a great story with Cameron Grimes would be just putting the kids over, if you see what I mean. But Andre Chase having a bachelor's in BS, according to Vic, was also a pretty good line. So, yeah, that's what I wrote down from that moment. I'm sorry.
See Cameron Grimes in interview backstage. He put over as a Baxter making out locker. Pete that all up and blows. Pete challenging him to a match, and Grimes rolls by girls to hit on them. And this was just like the older. And then we see Ciampa making his entrance, and Von Wagner is chilling in the locker room where Kyle O'Reilly rolls up to he's got his back. Wagner took it and respects Kyle because he's got heart. Kyle O'Reilly interrupts. And don't forget Ciampa, and he challenges anyone to step up to him. Bron Breakker arrives in Halloween Havoc and the Black Card, except to give us done anyway. But what if you're hearing from Joseph? And no doubt Bron looking Havoc excited versus Ciampa.
No, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think I can I don't think I can fool you and make it sound like I am. I'm not excited about it, and it has nothing to do with Ciampa or even Braun for that matter. I think he has a bright future, and he's definitely going to be fine as he continues on. You know what I mean? It's just I will never be a fan of the unearned, out of nowhere. You know, just because you look legit and you beat. I understand he beat LA Knight. He pinned Ridge Holland, I think, and but that's just two matches that I remember seeing, and now he gets a title shot, and I understand that I'm supposed to appreciate his ferocity and him being fearless enough to just go right into this challenge, and I think we all pretty much are not wouldn't we would all be shocked if he found a way to beat Ciampa, but that's the thing. I don't see them giving him the belt, and I do believe it is way too early to for him to be in this position. Now, is it possible him and Ciampa can still turn this into a really good, compelling match? Yes, but I think that's because of how good Ciampa is, and I think he can carry the young fella to a really good match. But I do believe this is a little bit too early.
Well, we see Joe Gacy.
A lot of bit too early.
We see Joe Gacy cutting a promo from a dark room. He says he sat with the righteous, won't crash like a safe spot. We're giving you Indy Hartwell and Persia Perotti are chatting about Indy's tournament. Extra is 9.5. And they open the door, seeming weird and hardly go in the other direction. And then Ikemen Jiro versus Joe Gacy. And Jiro never got a good lighted opponent. Gacy, a handspring clothesline. How he balled glare down at Gacy from the crowd off. That is Parker Bordeaux. Looks like they're going to go with the Gacy gimmick, I suppose. I mean, this was... And then we get a Duke husband. But Jade comes out. If Fairy does she? No, it's called Jade that does. And then Leroy Locker dominated the action. Yeah. Great. Another loss. Just what Monet needed. And more about the relationship with Baxter as well. I was really happy with it.
Oh, yeah. It was beautiful. Like I said, the funniest part, best part of this entire thing is Wade Barrett pointing out that she's in her 20s, so she'll get tired of him, or Trey Baxter will do something to ruin it before you know it. Oh, I love that thought process right there. That negative thought process is a perfect way to approach young relationships. Anyway, I'll get to it when we get to our overall point about NXT. But yeah, the amount of times that we have seen it, and the amount of times we have seen the WWE special, I like to call it the roll-up.
Yeah,
everyone
honestly
loves a good roll-up.
We see Ciampa interviewed, and Joe Gacy walks up and he says if he could be added. So
what did he do to deserve it?
Again, making the
go viral
even more unwatchable. Cameron Grimes versus Pete Dunne. Holland Carla Riley are announced later end. Riley Wagner help facing Dunne and Holland next. This was a good match. Two guys I like for different than Dunne, and then you've got all the other bollocks around it, you know.
Exactly. Like, oh man, it was on the right track. And, when I thought this was just gonna be straight up, I was actually kind of excited, but at that point I was just like, please hurry up and get Holland away from Dunne business. And as far as like that, I never really cared about the combo of them together anyway. But I think they're both better off alone. So yeah, if this was a regular one-on-one match, this thing could have been special.
Yeah, we see Hit Row Cup promo and about getting drafted to SmackDown. Isaiah Swerve Scott says he's giving Santos Escobar the NXT North American Championship title match he wants. This is, like I said, an end of an era which is only starting. And then Mallet Blade versus Tony D'Angelo. Blade connected D'Angelo, sucking him in, planted the face first on the turnbuckle, duplex. But I will give it time, So,
yeah, I was sitting there like, why is Tony so over? And I could have swore that Vic said something about family being in the crowd. I didn't know if he meant it literally or if he mean it mafia style. I don't know.
I don't know.
Did he successfully pay off the fans? Because he was very, very over in the CWC. So I didn't know. But like I said, I wasn't really impressed. I wrote that down that I wasn't impressed, and I can see potential in his character maybe, but it's not for me. I know that much, but I can see people liking it.
Well, Tin Shah make their entrance, send us a break, and Hindi Hartwell Ying Perotti distracted Ying, and Hartwell sent her hard on the ring. Mrs. Loomis hit an elbow drop. So I guess that's it for T and Charlotte.
Yeah. Please, like I said, please don't ever tell me anything about a Dragon Spirit ever again. I never bought it anyway. But don't ever tell me that ever again. If all it takes is the elbow drop to put her away, and first and foremost, and then not only that. By the way, once again, Barrett being a highlight of my night. Said Loomis is a part of his anatomy snapped off. So yeah, Indy do not play around. You guys. Thank you, Barry.
Well, we see Lash Legends hang around in the kitchen. Up, said the Gonzalez arrived in the odds. Backstage, Gonzalez still shy and start like she did not need the help before she really Hartwell and Persia Perotti wanted a shot at tag titles. Why are they trying to ruin my favourite division? And why can you get a title shot just walking up to someone and say, can
just walking up?
Shot? Yes, you can. Oh, thanks,
oh
mate.
My goodness. What has happened? Like, they used to fight for everyone used to earn everything is here. At least it felt like it for the most part. Or at least when they did the walk-up challenge, they had like so much heat in between them that it made sense. Now they just, like you said, it's just, hey, just take your pick. Open challenge season. Regal has no job because he's not making the matches anymore.
he does as much as Johnny Saint does in NXT UK.
Oh my goodness! Oh my! Don't get me started on Johnny Saint. Oh, the invisible authority figure.
Invisible hand. Literally, the invisible hand.
Literally. Oh my God.
Literal.
I'm starting to think he's a created everything, like the name and all of it.
Yeah, he's not actually a real wrestler. He's not many people know. Anyway, the main event of Briggs and Hayes, Kane with Gibson, and then with Carter hurt, Lee was left fighting alone. Briggs to win, but Carter made a save. Lee rolled up through the powerbomb into a pin for free, and then Briggs and Jensen shook hands with the champions, but then Imperium struck and laid out MSK. Thank you. Don't get me wrong, Wesley is great.
Yeah, I agree. It was definitely something missing. And Barrett, again, obviously, Wade Barrett is my favorite person in NXT 2.0. But before the match even began, he made the point to why I could care less about any of that happened in that match, even though I thought it was a pretty fun match to watch. But like most of the new kids that was getting pushed into our face in this situation, like, what did they do? What did any of them do to deserve a shot other than just talk and show up and just say that they want a shot like we talked about before? So it's just, the match had fun moments. It was an elimination style match. So, I was mad that GYV didn't make it towards the end, but at the end of the day, I'm not surprised that they didn't make it to the end. So, I don't know. MSK's victory was never in doubt either. So that's another, pet peeve of mine when it comes to championship matches. So, it was what it was. But yeah, I agree. The tag division now as a whole is not only missing something, but yeah, MSK's entire reign has slowly but surely gotten worse and worse and worse, even if the matches are pretty consistent.
Yeah, but I agree. Well, we went on to SmackDown the 8th of October, and Bianca Belair held a signing. Becky Lynch had her own table, and the Ram stood or the announced control, but the action on the table, then hit the KOD on the man through Banks and the T Lackman as well. But I thought Bianca looked and sounded great, and whoever wrote this segment knows exactly what.
Yes, I agree. I believe her delivery, she's gotten better and better and better. Like, you could just see it's almost effortless. Things that you can almost see that she was filling out and trying to get in the beginning of her run, and especially as her run on SmackDown. You can tell that she wasn't necessarily the most comfortable with every element. But I think now with that title run, with who she's in the ring, with who she's working with, when it comes to like the best, she's working with the best. So like possibly the best ever. If you just include, work with Charlotte, Becky Lynch, and Sasha all around the same time. So you can just see a comfort level. And this is another thing also. And that's, like I said, I get on WWE consistently about their depiction of a lot of the characters that we grow and watch from NXT. But we got to give props when they've done a great job of when they've done a great job of, at least this is what, I use these two people as examples of why can't you do this with the Keith Lee? Why can't you do this with certain other characters that you called up and just keep things the same and let them get comfortable with who they are as their own character? Bianca Belair is comfortable because she had already had this character figured out, and they're just putting her in better positions now. I think the same thing goes for Priest, whose character was already pretty much figured out. How much has Priest changed since his NXT days? Really not much. But they putting him in better situations also to help him rise as a star. So more booking like that of these NXT call-ups is please, I recommend it. I really do recommend it.
Yeah, I think about that. When we get on to the King of the Ring quarterfinal, Rey Mysterio versus Sami Zayn. We see Dominic get involved in the chaos, Zayn through Rey into Dominic. This is quality to be told in the Vega match. This is Storm's third SmackDown thing. So, up next.
What a call up.
Yeah. Head of the table, Roman Reigns praised Paul Heyman for SmackDown. Everyone wanted the truth out of Heyman and Reigns, Brock. The head of the table demanded that Heyman did just that because they were fouling his challenge champion. This was great. My only thing is Reigns.
Yeah, and it was a very, very obvious thing. It's even worse when you have the King of the Ring matches to compare it to right on the exact same card. Like, it's just like, God, like, come on, man. Like, you can't throw him a bone. You can't even try to make it look like you care a little bit more. That part is the only off-putting thing about the entire show, really.
Well, we get another Chris Carmella. Mella won thanks to kick. Looks like Mella's better. Happy to did nothing apart from again. And Naomi questioned why she was not in the Queen tournament. Worthy. Next was Self. Interesting.
Yeah.
And then the King of the Ring quarterfinal, Sarah versus Finn Balor. Balor won. I mean, the thing is, though, they give him one hand to take away with the other, didn't they? This was good. But you had either Cesaro or Balor losing. And talk about dropping the ball with Cesaro since Mania.
Yeah, it's like he's right back into the same role that he's been kind of stagnant in for a long time, which is the role of, we know we can, again, like I always say, he can do anything, so we can do anything with you, which means we need a good match. Even though you may not win, we know you're going to execute what we need you to do. If we need you to go over here, look like a prevailing babyface, sure. But it changes on the dime with Cesaro, and I have no clue why. It's one of the most frustrating things ever. And I don't know if there's anybody on the roster that you could want a different, or a fresh perspective on presenting Cesaro than him. I'm not saying AEW because I'm not the person who always say run there, but anywhere, Ring of Honor, New Japan Strong, New Japan in general, like plenty of pieces. You can't tell me they can have Ring of Honor, of course, like with his history there. You can't tell me they wouldn't put him right in the position of, carrying, because he's a flag bearer type of worker and talent. And I don't understand how he's just an afterthought on this roster.
Well, because he's a white, bald wrestler,
and here we go.
We talked about the trouble that they've had
that's fair.
in the industry.
Yeah, back right on the money. Right on the money.
I think so. Seth Rollins, the superstar all night, and he was probably tilted the radar superstar. However, the Edge arriving, and he speared Rollins repeatedly and went for the steel chair leg to the choke out his rival. The old steel chair leg choke out. Rollins ducked out for safety, and grabbed the microphone and named the stipulation Hell in a Cell. I don't know about you, but Edge chest massive. I mean, I don't know if he had.
I think it's because he had a tight shirt on, and that might be. I'm just playing, but yeah, definitely looked huge at that moment. I don't know if he just. I really feel like he just put a size too small shirt.
Well, Rollins was gold again, and Hell in a Cell match. I mean, this has been a good. I suppose that match ends what it did back in the.
Well, I hope so, but yeah. It's funny to me that Saudi Arabia gets that. Get a match of that caliber. I have to give Crown Jewel his props when I looked at the card overall, and we'll talk about that more in depth later. But yeah, it's for something that I always kind of looked at as a throwaway show, at least until maybe this year. This is a pretty strong match for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, I think so. It's just a shame WWE don't have a pay-per-view, not called like Hell in a Cell. You know, that would really work. Oh well. Right, so move on. Raw, October 11th. McIntyre started the vow to attack, lead to a tag match.
They didn't even really clearly explain it. I mean, I understood, and I guess they never even explicitly said, but you have to basically do your own like research and be like, oh yeah, Survivor Series is in November, so maybe this has something to do with that.
Honestly, that's it. We get King of the Ring action, Ricochet versus Woods. This is a great match. Like I said, really good. We United saw Ali shoved Mansoor to the mat. Was great. Another tag team gone. Baszler killed Dana in Queen's Crown action.
Yep. How long that was?
Well, exactly. Yeah, Graves has been having a go as well. Riddle versus Omos. Riddle grabbed the mic and said some random stuff talking about the strike. The match started a shout of Styles after Omos. It's the same as every single one. Bobby has some choice words for Goldberg. Theory versus Jeff. Hardy took advantage of the distraction to Fate for spot. We're a handful of tights.
There we go.
I think Jeff is. I've been saying this for a while. I just don't think he's all in. And would you blame him?
Yeah, I mean, if anybody could be a slip slow, it's Jeff Hardy. Well, based on what he's been through, based on how much he's been able to withstand for so long. And honestly, I don't necessarily think it's always him. I just think you can tell that he's a step slow because of not only how long that he seemed like he didn't age, but what he used to do. It's something as simple as the way he do the whisper in the wind now. It's like he does it one step at a time. If he does it, he's going up the turnbuckle one step at a time, and then he's doing the corkscrew. And the whisper in the wind, we all know it used to be run up the turnbuckle and then do the corkscrew. So like, and it happens. It happens. And I think the beautiful thing is about Jeff, we all love Jeff Hardy so much that I don't think it has an effect on how over he is. Did you hear those chants in the match? Like, he's more over than, and that's the one thing about Austin Theory, like watching him in this situation. It was cool to see him now, but you can just also see how much he's dwarfed in star power just by somebody like Jeff Hardy. If you see what I'm trying to say. Like, he's just dwarfed in notability and star power. And I think that's the problem a lot of the newer guys have when you compare them to people like Edge or Jeff Hardy that come from that era that wrestlers that is most popular.
I mean, that's true. Well, we get the second King of the Ring quarterfinal of the night featuring Kofi Kingston taking on Jinder Mahal. Veer and Shanky were at ringside for support while Woods came out with King's Fair. We wanted Kofi versus Woods, so of course all won. Sasha Bianca Bella versus Charlotte next. Blair partner for double get fight until the man was the last one. Another demon. I mean, what the fuck is?
I'm not surprised because they have a hard time booking definitive finishes in general. So it's of course when you have 4 people involved that they want to protect, they always gonna choose to let's protect them all with another DQ finish, not realizing that how can we take any match you ever build seriously with that. I did like how much the partners fought each other. I love that element of the match. It was different. You're not used to seeing just partners full-fledged. Like, WWE love making people who don't like each other team up. And for some reason, they always either work together until the very end or somehow they win together, of course, right? Well, I did like how from the very beginning, these ladies all just decided to fight each other.
Yeah, like I said, and then we get took place to drop. But the women's Queen ain't just, and I know a lot of people have had a go. And it's not a good.
No, it's not. And really, also, let's just be honest with you. Looking at the bracket, I was sitting back. I remember the initial thoughts, and then when I saw the full bracket, I was like, "Are you guys expecting them to let Dana wrestle more than 5 minutes?" And like, if you just look at the bracket, it was almost predictable, if you can see what I'm saying, that these matches, it's sad. Yes, no one wanted that and no one expected, especially when you have Liv Morgan, who they just dropping the ball on completely all the time for some reason, and Tony Storm. You got talent like that on the other side, and you just, in general, you hear all of this noise about women's revolution and how important it was, and like I said, but it goes back to what I just said earlier about the women's division on the main roster having tiers. And if they don't look at you as pure money right now, you're not on that tier with the Baileys, the Beckys, the Sashas, and the Charlottes. You know what I mean? And like I said, it's some people like Asuka and other girls who are interchangeable there. Alexa, who is sometimes up there, but sometimes they use her for as a lower tier or at a top level lower tier type of situation. So, but it's been like that for a while, and stuff like that allows it to continue that way. Like, think about it. Rhea Ripley probably deserves to be on. It's just as important as a Bianca, but she's in a. No offense to them as a team, because I don't mind them as a team, but the tag division don't even have another women's team in it right now. Yeah. So the division in a lot of different ways is just in shambles. And other than like what we have going on for the SmackDown Women's title, they don't have anything creative going on at all for the women.
No, it'd be interesting to see what they do. Out of the main event, McIntyre pulled Biggie out of the ring, and they fought a ring. So Scott was busted. The ref counted Biggie out. Before him down with Jay. McIntyre hit Biggie with a Claymore to end the show, standing tall. There were so many things wrong handled. And I've got to say this as well. The crowd, it was like being back in the last fight.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and and I don't blame anyone. It's just like, it's predictable. I literally seen a great post about this online on Twitter. People talking about how at this point it's almost a better situation to end up at a house show than who wants to sit for 3 hours for the cluster of fucks that Raw has turned into. That is almost more lucrative and just like more of a better idea. You want to go have a good time with the people that you like or from the WWE roster, you might as well just go to a live event. So, I think that plays a factor when it comes to it. But yeah, they have good things. They have, like you said, with Becky Lynch being on Raw, they have potential to make decent shows and still make this watchable content. But yeah, they have a long history of just bad Raw habits, if you so know what I mean. And I think you mentioned it earlier when the particular segment ended a certain type of way, and you was like, well, that's just Raw. That's a perfect way to point it out, because it's just certain things that comes with watching WWE programming, especially Monday Night Raw. And that's one of these things. They haven't been consistent for a long time, when you really think about it. You get a great week here, decent week there, then the rest of them are just Raw.
It really, really is. But we got the last Senate row getting jumped by the Duck T-Fag. Got luck tonight. And then Joe Gacy promised before the match that Snowflake, better in NXT, Haaland, watches Gacy. We see Gacy Moonsault setting up a fairy tale ending, which Ciampa hit with a second effort to win. Haaland laid out the NXT champion. Gacy had to calm the monster down anymore. And then backstage, good attack, but Braun Baker got involved to run in. This wasn't a match, but this woke Big Boss match might have in the long run.
It's a great point. I like that. I like the woke Big Boss, man. That's a great title for it, what he's doing. I do think in the ring, though, I can see why he's a newcomer that they focused on. They like, I think this match shows you that he has a future with especially in the ring. I thought it was a good performance from both men. It was a good opener, I do have to say, though, NXT is just full of weirdos at this.
Yeah, it is. Speaking of which, Toxic Attraction maker, they got on the mic doing Havoc, and Rose Gonzalez, they're going to have gold ways to follow Harry's game. Boom! Look, I know they're going to win gold, like it, and then Zion Quinn makes his entrance, send us to a break.
Yeah.
When Quinn got in the ring and I saw these two things, is that something for his entrance? And I realised, no, it was the microphone's attraction, which just left in the ring. Back from the match, we get a vignette of somebody dragging a Malik Blade and Quinn. The fans were, I hate it exactly like Diamond.
Yeah, I agree. They did that, I think, because I think Toxic Attraction interrupted the Gacy thing, because Gacy, I remember Gacy was ogling Mandy, when she walked through. So yeah, I don't know why they did that at the time, but yeah, as far as the match goes, squiggity squash. Malik Blade make me miss Leon Ruff. I wrote that down. The only reason why I say that is because he's in a similar role as of late, that to where I remember Leon debuted. So shout out to Leon Ruff. I don't have no clue if they were just going to show all these new faces. Why would they get rid of someone like Leon? He got a future. I don't get it, but I don't understand anything they do, so not surprised.
Well,
yeah. Go ahead.
I was about to say Zion is Irish, so it wasn't well.
So his name is his creative wrestler name is a rib. It sounds like a rib.
I've just made it up, so hopefully it works. You know
I still hate the running form, but I cheered for Bo Dallas when his finish was a bulldog. So maybe I'm a hypocrite.
Well, we see Swerve Scott is interviewed back to the Soldier. He's fired up at the top. We then get Ivy Nile, but Froz got rid of the feathers, eyebrows. I don't know if you noticed this, but Niall, I don't know if he's struggling. Person, you're not meant to be.
Yeah.
Oh, fucking hell! Like,
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I agree. It didn't have the torture rack. Definitely didn't have the effortlessness that you would expect.
Not Lex Luger-esque. So.
Right. It felt like her version of it actually looked like it hurt her worse.
Yeah. She looked, come on.
Give up.
Yeah. Well, Malcolm Bivens hyped up Ivy Nile and the strong Ikemen Jiro, which technically it was.
It pretty much was, yeah.
Judy, Jiro answered back with my mind from beating down Jiro, but he was stopped by Nile, then laid out by Strong. I think Mini Swagger looked okay. As for Jiro, that's called making to the time you.
Yes, and I think he's been doing that so far since his debut. Every time he gets a chance, he's trying to leave an impression, and I think he does a good job of that. I really like Ikemen Jiro. I can't lie. But we all know that this was meant to show what Julius Creed can do, and I think he impressed. I don't see how you can look at that and not think he's an impressive wrestler in the ring. So I thought this was cool, but I do want to point out that going into that segment, the way they did just reminds me of so much main roster booking. It's almost headache-inducing because, a promo leading directly into a match has been done to death. It's been done to death. But okay.
Well, Gonzalez wants to spin the wheel, make a deal against Mandy, and then we see
you want them to be blindfolded?
I'm a fan.
The fans, yes. Okay, there we go.
Not see Mandy. Lash Legend about not having Riley and Von Wagner and Holland. Cool Carl worked on, and the big man went at it, but went to a break. Carl worked on again. Wagner got the hot tag, and they were double underhook spinning, and finally to Wagner they bumped fists. It was alright, but Dunn deserves better. The two big guys in other roster. Wagner should have dropped Carl.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, that's mean now that I think about it. Just, you know what Kyle has been through.
It'd been great.
All of that damage Holland did when he returned to NXT. You remember, just like, just think about. I was like, yeah, Holland is gonna be trouble, man. He's just taking out people, and just to finish it off by putting over Wagner. And I don't oppose that move. It's just. Overall, Ridge Holland in NXT, all the way back to his failed attempt with Pat McAfee. It just didn't work, did it? You know what I mean? It just never really worked out when it comes to NXT and Ridge Holland.
But the thing with Ridge, like, in an alternate happened, or Jody, like, Ridge would have beaten Ciampa. That week he beat Thatcher and then faced Ciampa. Ciampa got the win and then became NXT champion, and Ridge is losing
right
onto SmackDown.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Anyway, move on. Chase University vignette, and he's swearing to Angelo. Basin locks Lashley's producer into a trunk because that's what Italian Americans.
Right.
And then home and watch Rocky.
It's not stereotypical at all.
No, they watch Rocky. So we see Grayson Waller getting inset. He talks about former Golden Gloves champion and a natural predator. Hudson versus Grayson Waller. Waller went from tripped up in the ropes and tights.
Very short.
So a stunner doesn't.
It don't. Oh my God, it doesn't. But that good roll up gets him every time. It was hard to take seriously, man. It was under. It's hard to take it seriously in general if it lasts under 5 minutes. So that's what she told me, by the way. But these guys have potential. Well, I don't know why I wrote that, but maybe they do or maybe they don't. I like Duke Hudson before this gambler gimmick. I think they just they ruined him when they gave him a character.
They went, he's a really good catch. What does he say, boss? Poker chips.
Poker.
He needs poker. And then
my goodness.
Him and Grimes can form a team. Poker in the front, liquor in the back. So Escobar, promising Legado will stay backstage. It'll swerve mano a mano. Dexter Lumis backstage with and Perotas will make her entrance, send us to a break. Into the match, Amira and Sarai. Yes, Sarai. Or Sarai. I don't fucking name anymore. That's how little. Sarai. Why? Fireman's Carry Hartwell quickly.
Right? Oh my goodness! Like just beat us over the head with the faction. God.
I think the best thing was his EO going, I don't like you, and then you're going to say you don't like me. Yeah, you're right. I don't like you.
Yeah, you're right.
I don't like anyone. We see Cameron Grimes are rolling up and asking Duke Hudson, and he says it's not about wins and losses, it's about likes and swipes. And if Grimes would, it was Grayson. No, I blacked out.
Who cares?
Who cares? People stop listening by now. We get a recap video package of Snow Seeker, commentary, younger brother, and a commentary hype starts. In the main event is Swerve Scott versus Santos for the NXT American Championship. We see Scott attacking for the bell. Days again, they fight and got more tense. They dive. The Emperor took over. Frog Splash. Kamala Hayes and Joe Driver to win. Hayes attacks Swerve after them and signed a first kick. What with Santos, but I thought this was epic.
I agree. My first reaction was that we finally get a North American title match, and finally a match on NXT with some heat. Like something that like they actually built up, and you're invested in both characters. You're like, man, it's sad that it's been a long time, in my opinion, since I feel like they've done a competitive match like this with the Heat. It's not all of their fault, but it's been a lot of randomness going on since 2.0 has started, and I think this is really the first. This is what I've been waiting for when it comes to what we looked for in the old NXT and what we really enjoyed. I was waiting for like a really compelling match from both, two talented guys, and it was just great. I really, really liked this match. It was a great example. It reminded me of what NXT was. You know what I mean? Like when they were really going at it, Escobar and Swerve. And then at the end, I didn't have a problem with Carmelo Hayes doing it. The only way I don't have a problem, I say it this way, because I do believe Escobar probably should have just won, and it would have been simpler and just you go on. You still have a veteran in that spot, so you can take your time and build up Hayes more or other people more, or build up the division behind the Escobar. But I'm hopeful that this means that Escobar will be challenging for the World Championship down the line or something else. It has to be. That's the only good explanation I have for why Escobar wasn't the right pick to go forward as champion. But that may be the only downside I have to say about that. It's sad that out of all of that NXT, this is literally the only thing that I would recommend anyone if you want to seek out. Like, you just want to watch something from NXT 2.0, you can definitely check out Swerve and Escobar. But, yeah. It's few and far between at this point with NXT and things I would recommend to watch.
I will say, like I said, what a match, what a moment. To credit NXT, that was shocking. What didn't help was that Hayes dropped the fucking contract like 5 minutes, and he kind of had that look of like, oh, I've just dropped the contract. It's like, pick the fucking thing up then. Like, I don't know.
But again, though, that's not, I can't even blame the guys involved for any of this, because they're put in situations they've never been put in. They haven't been, brought into those situations the right way. Yeah, when you're in NXT, you're going to get thrown into the fire because you're on television right from the jump now anyway. But we have to point out that what we're getting with this new era of NXT, they have a lot more people who have really never done this than in the last 5 years of NXT that you can think of. Like, really never done this on even a smaller scale.
That's actually an excellent point, and I think that's what as well. There's a lot of green wrestlers coming through, but that's kind of what it's been. We have to treat it differently to the old. Just love that NXT so much, damn it, that we hold on. And it'd be interesting with Halloween Havoc as well, because we loved the last Halloween Havoc. Well, I've done the Halloween Havoc. I can still remember I'm flying. It'd be interesting to see what will happen. We will cover SmackDown on the Halloween special because, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we have for weeks because, of course, we've got Halloween special time. That's for the entire WNR. And what of NXT UK, I hear you say? Well, do not worry because on the next week's episode, we are going to have NXT UK and, of course, Monty will join me for that. But that is it for today. So what are your thoughts on WWE these past 3 weeks then, Monty?
It's a exciting, but at the same time, very, very, I'm weary and I'm just trying to watch. I just have to be patient and see where things are going, especially when it comes to NXT, as sometimes it's hard to watch. Sometimes I could care less about what's going on, but I'm trying to give them a chance to show me where they're heading. And, and the same thing can be said with the new rosters. We haven't even had a chance to see what's that going to look like. They have a few interesting things going on, with Brock Lesnar and Roman, of course, Big E and Drew McIntyre. Is a big-time match that honestly may not get the attention it may deserve. And I think maybe after Crown Jewel, we'll be talking about maybe that match underneath because I don't think a lot of people are paying it the right amount of attention. And even though we have Brock Lesnar on the card, we have a Hell in the Cell with Rollins and Edge, which is probably sure to steal the show. And the women's match, of course, the women's title match. They've also had their reasonable amount of downsides with, like we mentioned with the women's tournament and just usual the usual up and downness of WWE was definitely prevalent. Yeah. Right, because you have things that you just, all right, you know what, this is pretty good, or you know what, I enjoyed this. And then, you have those moments or those times in the show where you're like, oh, I could care less about this. Why are they doing this? What is going on? And that is pretty much your normal unhealthy relationship with WWE as a fan, pretty much.
Yeah, that's true. That's bang on, really. And like I said, it's interesting because usually we do it as NXT update, but when you add Raw and Smackdown as a whole, and you feel like you said it's bad, but always like one step back. Some Crown prediction UK on the next show as well. But that's it. Forget all social media, Twitter at the WNRJR. Do you want to tell everybody where you can find us? Don't just tell me.
Right. I was going to say, I thought you knew, but at Mind Monty Pod on Twitter, that is where you can find my link tree. You can connect with me on any other platform. So, yeah, just check us out. Oh, yeah, anywhere you listen to podcasts, look up the Mind of Monty podcast, and you can listen to me. We're pretty much bi-weekly or monthly at this point. Doesn't really matter. I'm releasing content when I can, so please check out the Mind of Monty, and I thank you again for another fun review.
No, like I said, it's always a pleasure to have you on the WNR, also on Facebook and Instagram, of course, at gmail.com, YouTube, the WNR podcast with the latest clips. The podcast got the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also, Spotify, rate and review there, and that is it. And our next episode, it's NXT UK, and I had the pleasure, like I said, thank you.
No problem, man. I had fun. Thanks again.
Well, like I said, thanks for me, and bye.
Adios.